Yeah,
In the
just
first
break.
show is when, yeah, in the first show is when there's a little break before the link go public. For the second show, we're already here.
All right.
Yeah,
I'm
it
kind of
just
curious,
continues
Jose.
recording.
Where do you live, Jose?
I'm in Florida,
Oh,
United States.
Florida. Okay. Upper state, lower state?
Center of Florida, in Tampa Bay area.
Oh,
Beautiful, beautiful.
you by
It's
Orlando?
beautiful over here.
You go to the
Yeah,
Keys?
it's like 2 hours to Orlando. To the east, I'm to the west of Orlando. 2 hours to the west in the coast.
Okay.
You visit the Keys much?
I have not been there. My wife has been there twice with her parents once. Just didn't want to take the drive. The drive was gonna be long, like 7 hours drive, and nah, I don't like those.
Oh, I love that. I rented a Corvette and drove from Miami to Key West. It was absolutely glorious. We went to a hurricane party.
Oh yeah.
And they nailed us into this bar. The place was completely deserted, but my brother knew one of these bar owners down there, and he literally nailed us into the pub when the hurricane came. And when they when they pulled off all the crap that was on the windows, it was like total devastation. You know, pine trees or whatever they are, all on the sides, and stuff rolled over and ripped apart. It was just chaos. Anyway,
yeah, it's crazy,
days.
but it is a beautiful, beautiful sight. I mean, when you're just looking around the coast and you just clear your mind, you're in like freaking paradise. You know, it's beautiful.
And it's really, really flat too.
That's what I was going to go on to with the Key West roads. That's something that, you know, when I first came to Flat Earth, that was one of the things that popped into my head about the road to Key West, because it's like just bridges and then a bit of land and then bridges as you go over all of the islands, and it's just flat as a pancake.
Causeways.
Yeah.
Long, flat with a little arc for boats and masts here and there, and that's it.
Yeah, but when I get me a good camera, P900 maybe, when they're cheaper, if I find one used, I want to go there and I want to take some videos. I want to see if I can hit and see Cuba or the Bahamas or some shit like that, you know.
Technically speaking, you're better off with a telescope, a $500–600 good quality telescope. You'll get better images at a distance with your IR filter than you ever will with a camera. It's a better investment, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And there are digital that I can hook them up and take pictures and shit, or I can hook up
Yeah,
maybe
a lot
link
of
my
them,
phone.
you know, have the fancy ring and the GPS, or what they call GPS, are able to swing around like a carousel and point.
Yeah, but I want to be able to you know, to save the pictures.
Oh yeah,
or,
they all have
videos.
a mount for a 35mm camera. You take the lens off your camera and you attach it basically normally right to the telescope where the eyepiece goes.
Nice.
Oh yeah, it's smooth. And they have fittings for lenses on these not lenses, but filters and stuff. Filters made for them, so it's great news. But it's a better investment than any camera could be. For a long-range picture, if that's what your objective is, go with a telescope and not a camera.
Sweet. Right,
a lot of them are pretty portable too. They're not such behemoths that you know, you need a truck to haul them around. You know, a lot of them have pretty reasonable.
Sorry, are we live yet?
Nathan, I don't see an announcement.
I'm just doing it now. It's just my kids trying to force feed me something. Stop it. Stop
Hey, Nathan, before you get started, man, you're going to have to put a muzzle on that dog because I'm going to expose him real bad during the presentation.
Oh, yeah.
So he's going to have to be warned that if he opens his clap trap, he's going to get kicked.
Well, no need for the extremities. Basically, for everyone on the panel, there's going to be a quick 10-minute presentation at the beginning. So just, if you can, just hold here.
Yeah, George, don't leave after that because I have another question.
Well, George can do whatever he likes.
So I'm sitting in the same spot, and the call just drop every once in a while. So like, what the hell?
You want a
freaking
mobile?
satellites?
You want a mobile, Jose?
Yes, I am.
Yeah. It's going to be signal related.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I haven't checked on the updating the Hangout apps. Maybe that's why. Maybe I need a little update.
Right, there should be an ad up now, hopefully, for the live show. Yay! Oh, what's that CC doing there?
Earth Flattener, join the show. Who's that?
Hey,
Hello.
Flattener, good to have you. Give him a second, because he's...
Yeah, I still haven't got the notice or anything, and I usually get them. They miss a couple of times, but normally I get them.
Hey guys, is my voice normal again?
Yeah, now it's normal Arwen instead of deep bass Arwen.
Yeah, I was a real man. Nah, it's just I got up pretty late, and like when I came on, you already opened the panel, so I pretty much came on during breakfast. And yeah, I still had all kinds of stuff in my lungs.
Lovely day!
So, from smoking.
Did you miss your dose of helium before you spoke, Erwin? You were talking really deep.
Whoops.
Yeah, it's just my morning voice. So manly and
Just ran the
it's my
intro by
special
accident.
voice for seconds. The opportunity ever to
Right, I'm going to get a quick cup of coffee. 5 minutes and we'll start. What are you doing?
It's funny that people actually kill themselves with helium.
What?
Voices. Yeah, people have died from
Really?
doing voices on helium, on radio.
Too much
and other
inhaling?
stuff.
Yeah, it has
Yeah,
like
they
an
die.
effect on the brain, right?
Yeah, hypoxia. They just like breathing carbon dioxide. You starve of oxygen. Your heart can stop. Your breathing can stop. And it happens more often than you'd think. It's funny because some people it can trigger death, which is not good.
Now,
It's
I've
like
done it
an
a
allergy.
few times, but after
Yeah,
like the second balloon, I would start to feel like alerted
Dizzy.
and nauseous.
I
But,
feel
like, alerted.
dizzy.
Very weird sensation.
Yeah, it's kind of like the nitrous oxide. I had that once at a dentist actually. Boy, it's funky stuff. The nitrous oxide is. It's like an instant high, but it goes away as fast as
SX0, you hear?
The lungs are
SX0.
meant to deal with oxygen or with regular air and not with any
Yeah.
monogenous gases. It's like pure oxygen.
Well, have you ever seen the mice in the super oxygenated fluid and the cats? They super oxygenate a fluid and then they can immerse cats, dogs, mice, and they swim around in it and breathe and like in 3D space. And then they pull them out, drain their lungs, and they're back on terra firma.
Yeah, I heard that it existed. Yeah.
Really weird.
Well,
But
it's
as long as
a
you
very
can get
smart
it done.
invention.
I wouldn't want to be the first human guinea pig for that. Although you'd probably survive. I wouldn't doubt it. They probably have done.
Be very good for a massive. No, wait.
Blood.
No.
Well, it would be good if we could
I
actually.
thought for a fire, but yeah, the water's gonna cook. But anyway, maybe
think
if it
people-
was gel or something that is heat repellent, then would be very handy to just have like a box of that stuff. If a massive fire breaks out, you jump in the box.
I think people will find a way to make a thing that, without much ado, can extract oxygen from water and make a breather for us underwater. Like a snorkel that can extract oxygen from water. Enough of it for us to, swim 10 feet down and shit. Battery powered, God knows. They have little portable things that pump air down to you. You can go down to about 45 feet, I think, and actually scuba dive with this little floating compressor following you around. It's kind of cute.
Man, I'm thinking it must be pretty dangerous if you're like used to being suspended in this fluid for say like a year. Like your breathing turns off or almost turns off. And then if you get out of it, that's going to be one hell of a shock.
You know what's funny is that the deep divers, they breathe in heliox. It's a mixture of helium and oxygen, and their voices are incredible. It sounds like munchkins. If you ever hear the radio communication of these deep sea divers with their crews that are breathing normal air, you can't even understand them. The voices are so high pitched, and it's almost like the words are shortened too, and it's just like hearing mice or something. It really is amazing. It's fascinating, but they're breathing helium and oxygen mix in deep sea suits, and their voices are out of this world. I've tried understanding what they're saying. I can't make out a word.
Do you have an example on YouTube?
Let me try to find one. That's so
I've
cool.
never heard of that before.
Yeah. Let me try to find a Lox Diver recording. Lox.
George, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm just taking a break. I'm going to get a drink.
Okay. Just so that the rest of the panel knows, my intentions are, I'm going to close this point off with George about whether it's an open or a closed system. I should get my bit out in less than 2 minutes. However, George will probably want to respond.
Nah, I was first.
Hey,
John does his. Yeah, you are first. I'm second, and after that, it's not gonna take long. What I'm gonna ask, so
I'm gonna solve the whole problem, Anthony. I got your back, brother.
What I want to do is
we all want a shot here.
What I want to do is I want George to tell us whether it's open or not, and if he won't do it based on the definition I presented before, I will demonstrate that it is an open system as per the definition that he agreed was credible in the first instance.
Yeah,
Anthony, it's gonna be very well moot.
Frank below, John Joshua. Who's that? Frank below.
Hey, Anthony, I can answer for you right now. Yes.
No, wait, let's save it.
dude.
Save till we
Anthony, get the sniper quick.
Yeah, I've done it. Are you not watching the back door, are we?
He's still here.
I've got him. He's done.
I still see him.
He's not. He's gone.
Yeah, I'll probably end up getting sniped here before long. I mean, I've already 3 for 3 have been sniped out of your hangout.
Yeah, that's because I wasn't in, or Aaron wasn't watching the door, or Auntie wasn't watching the door, one or the other. Frank Bella was the one that sniped everybody the other day, so I got that sock account. He's done.
Yeah, I feel this is gonna be a really good show, guys. You know what?
Yesterday.
You know what? Yeah, I want to be the better man, and I want to apologize personally to you. You know what? I didn't want the show to end up like that. It was like, emotions were too all over the place, and there were some swearing and fuck this, and I didn't want that. I'm sorry. I won't do it again. I will stay in the background.
I posted in the side one of a couple of guys in a Lox chamber under the sea, but I'll try to find an example where they're in their deep sea suits because their voices are even higher. It's just real weird. But they sound like munchkins.
Yeah, I was too into the subject yesterday, and it pissed me off. So I snapped. I apologize. I will not snipe again. I shouldn't even be able to do it on the phone.
Okay, that is just weird, dude.
Lounge, please.
That is totally a Donald Duck voice.
Out the kitchen.
I found some
2
divers.
minutes.
Whoops.
Wow, that is just amazing. That sounds so totally silly. Thanks for that, Jimbo.
It's cool.
It's very weird.
It's one of those cool things.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you're new to this channel, or you have not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they're live, and there's also a PayPal link in the info box below the video once it's rendered. But most importantly, if you would like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the shape of the Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel. So please share the show. And one last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. Now, we are joined by The Plain Truth, SX, Sleeping Warrior, Jose, John, James, George, Earth Flattener, and Arwin. And Eleanor. Good to have you all.
Yo, yo.
Hello. What?
Hello.
Good morning.
Good afternoon.
Excellent. So, I'm not exactly sure. I'm not exactly sure if we're going to do a presentation straight away. If John's ready, I think hopefully we'll get into maybe a 5 or 10 minute presentation. Are you ready, John?
Yeah, it'll be about 10 minutes, man.
Yeah, cool.
Let me share my screen. We have some ground rules for this.
Yeah, just don't interrupt him, and then we'll get through it in 10 minutes. Easy peasy. Right,
Tell me when it's up.
Yep, you're on.
All right, we're gonna.
I kind of
Unbelievable.
John having to, be able to
George
short circuit all this. I want
George.
I don't mind John doing his presentation, but
Hey,
why
David.
do I always get cut off? I was having a conversation with
Unbelievable.
Now John gets to take over.
So, do you want to get kicked now, George, or are you going to shut up and mute yourself?
It'll just take 10 minutes, George.
George, please mute.
Anyway, when you're ready, John.
Am I good?
Yep.
Go.
All right. So we're going to solve all these religitard problems that these guys brought up right here. Okay? I've been waiting for this. Talking about open and closed systems, right? The Coriolis effect, the Foucault's pendulum. Let's deal with this. All right, flat earthers, listen up out there. See, over the past couple days, Nathan has given you the #1 pagan religitard heliocentric spinning ball killer, right? And it was even mentioned today. All you have to do is ask this pagan religitard mythologist a simple question. Here it is. And it was asked again today. Is the Earth an open or a closed system? Because it's all downhill from there. All right. From the NIH NCBI database, Clyden A. How does Earth system generate and maintain thermodynamic disequilibrium? Blah, blah, blah. Okay. The important point I want to take away from this are the 3 types of thermodynamic systems that exist. Isolated systems, closed systems, and open systems. Now, further in this citation, it gives the game away already. The Earth is almost a closed system. Well, almost is good for horseshoes and hand grenades, right? But not in this instance. If it's not a closed system, then guess what? It's an open system. But that's all right. We don't need them to tell us that because we're going to go through it step by step. So, an open system is a system that can exchange matter and energy with its surroundings. A closed system is a system that can only exchange energy with its surroundings. And an isolated system is a system that can't exchange matter nor energy with its surroundings. We got those definitions from the citation. Okay, now we can eliminate an isolated system. Why? Because no such systems exist. So it's only these 2 that we're concerned with, open and closed systems. So an open system, again, a system that can exchange matter and energy with its surroundings. Okay, so let's deal with the Earth. #1 is hydrogen matter. Yes, of course. Does terrestrial hydrogen escape into space? Yep. Are meteorites matter? Yes. Do meteorites hit the Earth from space? Yeah. Okay, so is matter being exchanged between the Earth and space systems in their fairy tale? Yeah. So we got matter. Is solar radiation energy? Yeah. Do photons light enter the Earth's atmosphere? Yeah. Do photons light enter the Earth's atmosphere with some scattering back out into space? Yeah. Also, the Earth loses energy via radiation with heat and IR photons into space. So, is energy being exchanged with the Earth and space systems? Yeah. So, matter and energy are being exchanged between the Earth and space systems. Back to the definition, open system, a system that can exchange matter and energy with its surroundings. Therefore, according to their pagan spinning ball religitard mythology, the Earth is an open friggin' system, by definition. However, hold on, folks. This is the elephant in the room from it. They next need to show gas pressure in an open system. In other words, they need to show gas pressure without a container. Here's what they need to do. They need to go to Home Depots or Lowe's and gather the entire staff around and ask them for compressed air, that's pressurized gas pressure, without a container. After they get released or charged with manslaughter for inducing tear-jerking belly laugher syndrome, and after they're released from Shady Meadows, they can report back here. Now, the pagan religitard mythologists, they're going to start shucking and jiving like you've seen over the past 3 days, right? Their last and only port in the storm is gravity holds gases to the Earth, right? That's the only port they got. So, from Tech Target, a gas is a sample of matter that conforms to the shape of a container in which it is held and acquires a uniform density inside the container, even in the presence of gravity. And regardless of the amount of substance in the container, if not confined to a container, gaseous matter, also known as vapor, will disperse into space, right? So what are they going to do? Oh, that citation, they don't know what they're talking about. Okay, no problem. We don't need the citation. Let's do a practical example. You have them go out to their car or bicycle and kneel down to either tire, which is real close to the Earth. That means maximum gravity. You remove the valve stem cap and have to depress the pin or the valve. Now listen up closely. This is the difficult part. Here comes the punchline. If the the pressurized gas shoots out in all directions, increasing entropy, then guess what? Kiss the heliocentric pagan religitard myth goodbye. It's over. Should be no questions with that. I can't break it down any further. So,
excellent.
What's their next? Go ahead. Somebody wanted to say something?
Just excellent. I thought that was the end, but there was a bit more, so I'll shut up.
You got 4 more minutes.
What? It's going to be a little bit more than 4 minutes, Arwen. Is that okay with you?
No, you said 10 minutes.
Oh,
That's
come on, Arwen. You should drag it out longer.
Unbelievable.
Just chill out. Got all the time in the world.
All right. The pagan religitards claim this is another point, right? They've expressed feverishly over the past 2 days that the atmosphere spins with the Earth. I mean, this is well beyond crayon munching, folks. Number one, you need to please explain how the Coriolis effect can exist when the necessary conditions for it to exist are 2 differing coordinate systems, that's reference frames, one rotating, that's non-inertial, that's the Earth, and one non-rotating, inertial, that's the atmosphere and everything in it. Number 2, you need to show the experiment where gases or gas rotate in lockstep with a rotating solid body just 5 centimeters above the surface and then provide the mechanism. So you do understand that gases have no intermolecular bonds. That's obviously rhetorical. They forgot about that. So do gas molecules attach to the Earth and each other by Velcro, superglue, molasses, pixie dust, other? And gas molecules, air, by definition, their behavior, vibrate and move freely and randomly at high speeds. So let's check this out. Let's get a little visual. This is from Purdue University. Now, over here is a solid. See, it's vibrating, but it's pretty tight. Liquid, it's vibrating and moving randomly, but within its constraints, because guess what? Liquids, i.e. water, have hydrogen bonds, intermolecular bonds, and then we have gases. Look what's happening here. Oh my goodness, they're moving randomly and freely at high speeds. How, and to his point earlier, how are gas molecules laying on top of each other? For crying out loud. All right. Question. How can gas molecules, that's the atmosphere is made up of gases, air is a gas, move freely and randomly at high speeds, yet at the same time be fixed to the earth? The exact opposite, the exact contradiction to what I just said. I mean, it's over right here with this point. However, we got another one. If the atmosphere is attached to the earth and the earth and the atmosphere are moving west to east, then Crayon Munchers, can you please explain east, north, and south surface winds? Bonus question. How can you have different wind speeds moving in different directions simultaneously at differing elevations of the atmosphere, all the while the atmosphere is collectively spinning east in uniform or in unison the same, right? It's a contradiction. All right, yesterday's hangout. Question to George. Is there problems with planes? What counts as free flight? Do airplanes? George, no. That's powered flight. From Physics About, the Coriolis effect, also called the Coriolis force, is defined as the apparent deflection of objects such as airplanes, wind, missiles, ocean currents, moving in straight path relative to the Earth's surface. The apparent portion of the Coriolis effect's definition is also important to take into consideration. This means that from the object in the air, i.e., that is an airplane, the Earth can be seen rotating slowly below it. From the Earth's surface, that same object, the airplane, appears to curve off its course. The object is not actually moving off its course, but it just appears to be happening because the Earth's surface is rotating beneath the object. Okay? Now, before we get to Foucault, let's go to the Crayon Munchers' alma mater, the Coriolis effect from Wiki. And I've showed this so many times, it's ridiculous. Right? Let's pull it up with their third reference frames. Okay. Can you guys see this over here?
Yeah, looking good.
Looking good. You see, I only pulled this thing up and pulled it off on its own. I never read the illustration or the discussion beneath it. Let's go ahead and read it. In the inertial frame of reference, the upper part, the black ball moves in the straight line. However, the observer, the brown dot, who is standing in the rotating non-inertial frame of reference, the lower part of the picture, sees the object as following a curved path due to the Coriolis and centrifugal forces present in the frame. Where's the third reference frame here? That's what I thought. Morons. Foucault pendulum. And this is directly connected to our little Coriolis effect fiasco. Let's take a listen. Listen from plusmass.org, defining the Foucault pendulum. When you set one in motion, its direction of swing will rotate at a rate of about 0.2 degrees every minute. But in fact, it isn't really the pendulum that's rotating. The pendulum is swinging back and forth in exactly the same direction. It's the Earth which is rotating underneath the pendulum, which makes it appear that the pendulum is in fact changing direction. Okay, if that's true, then why couldn't we just hover in a helicopter in North Carolina for 3 hours and catch a Dodger game? You guys are smoked. Now, I was going to go into Soundly's train wreck response, but I'm not going to do that because I took a little bit over 10 minutes. So I'll yield. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.
Thank you, John.
Just before George responds,
Excellent.
I want to present just 2 minutes and then I'll be done.
No, that's not the order. Come on.
It is.
No, it's not.
It's right on topic, Arwin. It's 2 minutes.
Yeah, but my thing is also right on topic. Come on.
You're talking about the vacuum of space against the atmosphere of the Earth?
No.
Right,
Right,
then,
so
then unfortunately, unfortunately, I'm the one queuing it up. So, yeah, I just want to get it done because I'm having to queue stuff. So, unfortunately, yeah.
So, are we present? Present my screen if you would first, Nate.
Your screen. Oh.
If you would first, and then we'll move to that clip in a sec.
No worries.
So, we had George agree that this definition was suitable for establishing whether or not a system was open or closed. And in this definition, it clearly states that it's a closed system is a physical system, which will be Earth, that does not exchange any matter with surroundings. So in the context of Earth, it would be the physical system being Earth that does not exchange any matter with space. Nathan, would you present that other link that I presented to you? Just play. Listen to the beginning of the sentence that's queued up from the science teacher, Conspiracy Cats, out the into space. Listen to what he says.
Bigger and bigger and bigger, and the proportion drops. So what we get is a bigger proportion of the atoms of any gas closer to the Earth, and as we get further away, we get a smaller and smaller proportion. Now, this is different to your model, which is based purely on density. If your model was right, and you were talking just about density, then the most dense gas would sit next to the Earth. The second most dense gas would sit on top of that, and we would have a density gradient. And even the winds and the convection currents wouldn't mix it up the way we've got it now. All gases have the potential to reach all heights, just in different proportions, depending on the temperature. Now, what I'll add, though, is that a very small proportion of those atoms will have enough energy to escape the Earth's gravitational field into the vacuum of space. That does happen. We lose atmosphere to space every single second.
Thank you. So, clearly, as Sarah's just cited, we do lose atoms into space every single day. So, by definition, it does satisfy the definition of an open system, because matter is being exchanged with space. I don't know how it can be argued against on the heliocentric model. George.
George, you're still there?
Do I get to speak now?
Yeah.
Yes.
All the time you need. Nobody
Right.
interrupt
Now,
George.
I certainly hope the panelists will afford me the same opportunity that I afford them. John,
how much do you need?
14
John
was on for 14 minutes.
Just
okay?
Chill out,
Riley
Arwin.
was on for 2 minutes. I don't need that much time, but I know I'm going to be interrupted because John cannot contain himself.
No. Let's just do it. I'm going to mute. Let you do your thing.
No, did you have a question, Arwin, before I...
Well, I do.
Okay, go ahead.
All right.
Go ahead. Let's get it done.
The points John and both Riley made were excellent. I'll give them that. And I'm going to basically do a step in another direction for a moment and do a more theoretical exercise. And that is that George said that space is technically not a perfect vacuum, that there are molecules there, and that the gradient of the pressure from Earth into space basically keeps on going. well, potentially eternally. So I was very interested then that if there is, well, PSI pressure and air, no matter how thin it is out there in space, then how come that the motions of, for example, the moon around the Earth, well, that it doesn't slow down due to air friction, no matter how minute it is. Over the ages, it is going to continually slow down. Because the force is just inertia force, basically, of the orbit of the moon, so-called. But yeah, since there's going to be air molecules out there, it's not going to keep its momentum. It's going to slowly, well, eventually come to a standstill over the centuries or millennia. No matter how much time it takes, it's going to continually slow down due to all that air out there that it's going through. So how would you explain that? That was my question.
Oh, okay. Now, I'll handle Arwen's question here first, since it was the most recent and the easiest to explain right now. Yeah, you're correct. There's a little bit of drag on the moon due to the very, very, very thin atmosphere, if you want to call it that, out by the moon. However, it pales into comparison with the amount of energy that the moon receives from the whiplash effect, essentially from tidal locking with the Earth. I did a video on that. You're welcome to watch that, Arwen, sometime. That talks about.
No,
hey,
no,
please,
I'm not.
no, hey, let me speak. I didn't interrupt you.
Arwen, it's not a back and forth. Just give him his chance to speak.
But he's misinterpreting.
I don't care.
The question.
I don't care.
What?
I mean, I want him to get an open section to say his piece. Regardless of if you disagree, grab a notepad, write it down.
Fine. If I can reply right after that.
Yeah. I would like to jump in just real quick, because it's not that he's disagreeing.
See, Nathan, this is not going to work because these guys cannot contain themselves.
George,
you're misinterpreting the question.
This is a
I am not misinterpreting. You haven't
We're
given
talking
me
about
a
the
chance
atmosphere on the moon.
The points.
Okay,
I'm not talking about the atmosphere on the moon.
I might not.
George,
I might,
take a breath.
No, I didn't. Oh,
take a breath. Arwen, take a breath. Okay, let me just say
why
what
can't
I'm
I
hearing.
Respond to Arwen?
Okay, listen to me.
Who are you? Who are you?
Travis.
Who's Travis? Okay. I've never met you
Mona
before.
Mona Lisa.
Okay.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Arwen wants to clarify, because if you answer what he's not addressing, it's a moot point. So
no, it isn't. It's just like you guys do to me. He can respond after I'm done, and if he feels I haven't covered the subject, he can further elaborate. Anything wrong with that?
Travis, did you
What is it? You guys don't have an attention span? You can't remember what's being said, that you can at least give me a minute or two to respond?
George, make your point. Address Arwen.
You know, I've had to remember everything here now that John has talked about 22 minutes ago, and you guys can't even remember for 30 seconds?
George, respond to Arwen, and then respond in turn to me and what's his face, John.
All right. Arwen, I'm not talking about the atmosphere of the moon. I said there's air, there's molecules of gas or matter in the vacuum of space out where the moon is orbiting the Earth. Sure, you can say that there might be a little bit of drag on the moon, but it's so insignificant because the gaseous content of space is so thin that it's negligible on the moon compared to... Boy, there's screaming going on here. I'm just hearing a lot of...
Yeah, no smacking involved. This is a tired 2-year-old. Ordinarily, if I'm not debating, I keep my mic closed. Unfortunately, when I'm debating with someone, I leave my mic open, and the sounds of my child come through the microphone. Everything she's doing right now. Because she's tired, she's banging things, she's being disruptive, because she's tired. That's what children do. No smacking necessary. Just for all the arseholes currently accusing me of abusing my children. Not in the slightest. Anybody with children will know that this is what children do. Anybody without children will accuse me of smacking her because they are arseholes. Subsequently, George, for the duration of this show, my mic's left open. Now we're at the coincidentally exact same time as yesterday when this happened, and she is doing exactly what she does. So that is what is happening.
Actually not come closer to the Earth, but the moon is receding from the Earth because it is gaining energy due to the tidal locking of the Earth with the moon. There is an angular momentum exchange.
Sorry, that is so hilarious.
Arwin.
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 Arwin, shut up.
The moon is receding from the Earth at about the rate of a couple centimeters per year. Wow. That is very well known. It's been measured with laser distance measuring between the Earth and the moon. It's very well documented, and the mechanism in which is occurring, what's causing that to occur, is because of tidal locking and the fact that the Earth is exchanging angular momentum with the moon. The moon is gaining energy. It's taking energy from the Earth, and its orbit is actually growing with time, and eventually the moon will move far enough away from the Earth that we'll no longer have solar eclipses, total solar eclipses, because a disk of the moon will no longer cover the sun completely. And that will happen, I calculated out, it's somewhere around 500 million years from now, where we'll never be able to have solar eclipses. Total.
Is he answering Arwin's question, for crying out loud? Answer Arwin's question.
Shut up, John. I didn't interrupt you.
No, he did answer it, but it is in a very. You did answer my question, so thank you for that. With a very, very elaborate science fiction story, which is pretty amazing and completely.
I didn't ask you to have to believe it. All you have to do is.
No, I'm not believing it. Don't worry about that. But it's a very well thought out science fiction
got the
story.
points.
Okay.
So you may continue on.
What, are we done with this moon thing?
Could I mention for John, thank you for mentioning about pressure and the bicycle being low to the ground and the valve. These valves on bicycles
Can't
and car
these guys
engines,
shut up?
on the shuttle ISS, the pressure systems are often controlled by these Schrader valves. They're an industrial standard.
You don't want to be on
You
here
know,
all
imagine your life in a vacuum of space depending on a valve from a bicycle tire. That's basically.
Come on, guys. Let him respond. Let him respond, please.
Is this the way it's going to be? You know, for me to talk
stop
about
your
something
whining,
that might
your
take
friggin' victim card nonsense. Answer the questions.
Just continue. We'll mute.
I don't think John will mute. I told you, John.
Stop talking about people and answer the question. Come on.
Which question do you want me to answer?
The next question.
The next question is that John and I both gave good examples with evidence and citations for why it is an open system. And you're going to now argue.
Okay, all right, open closed systems. Okay. Now, for number one, John is very good at his cutty-pasty stuff, and he creates these documents that are not what I would say scientifically factual, because he tends to edit things, he interjects, he puts words in that are different than the original documents.
He's going to have to support that charge. No. He's going to have to support that charge,
well,
Nathan.
I will.
Yeah, I agree.
Right now.
You're trying to discredit the main citation, right? The main witness. So you're
gonna I'm trying to. Yeah, I'm trying to discredit John because he's.
You're not responding to the questions. Okay, you're just slandering now.
No. Well, what I'm saying is John's documents are not official documents. That's all I want to get out there.
Well, get into the details and deny the facts he presented.
Narwin, come on now.
You're gonna have
Did
to
I
demonstrate
interrupt any of you guys while you were speaking? No, I did
You're
not. I was
attacking the
very
character,
polite.
John.
You guys
You're
are
gonna
being
present
rude.
evidence
I'll
to
just
support
stop
that
it.
assertion.
All right.
George, you're
Oh.
attacking the credibility of John's character, and you're going to have to present evidence because he's called you on it. Prove that John has misrepresented any of his citations.
Well, John, of course, has been already with his cutty-pasty documents. I have not had time to prepare. I could scan this stuff in and easily show you.
So
you made a charge. You need to back it up.
You're going to have to retract your comment then. You're going to have to retract.
No, I'm not
George.
retracting my comment. No.
You're going to have to unless you provide evidence that John has done what you say he's
Well,
done.
do you want me to take time to scan the documents in so I can present them?
That's what you've got to do.
Your charge, moron.
You've questioned the credibility of John. You've now got to quantify it with evidence that supports your position. Or
Okay, so all right, we'll
comment.
take a break. Give me 10 minutes. I'll scan in the documents.
Take your time. So we'll wait for George to come back with evidence against John for the citation on him not being a credible witness in terms of his citations. Nathan, are you still there?
Yeah. Just waiting for my kid to fall asleep. I think she might be just about there. Did you all enjoy her
Doesn't
crying
sound
with
like
my
she's
mic
fallen
open, by
asleep.
the way? Just while we're there. Good fun.
Pardon?
Well, she's just been clattering and banging around and doing what she does when she's tired and wants to go to sleep, which is generally making quite a lot of noise. Yeah? And there's people in the chat going, oh, right, what's going on? Well, that's what children do, make noise and cry. Yeah? Arseholes want to accuse me of slapping her around. GeoStreber, the lying sack of shit that he is, has literally accused me of slapping her in the face. Now, these are all, and I'm going to have to say it, cunts. There's no other word for it. Holier-than-thou globehead liars, all of which are members of the Children of the Flat Earth Discord server. So they're attacking me because I've reported their site to the police. Subsequently, I leave my mic open to talk on a hangout and let the noises I generally tune out because they're so familiar to me come through the mic. Off the back of them hearing a noise that they think is me slapping her, I get accused of abuse. Absolute horseshit from holier-than-thou globeheads. So I've left my mic open so you can hear the noises she makes, and she makes them daily. Sod all to do with being slapped. I don't hit my kid, my wife doesn't hit my kid. Now Anthony is pro-slapping. Good for him. I'm not. That is all.
Well, I must say, yesterday it did sound like you slapped your child. And don't you think it might be better if you're going to be doing this sort of thing to maybe get a nanny or something for the 2 hours that you want to do your hangout so your child isn't sitting on your lap distracting you?
Don't you think it's better?
Sorry, I'll just ask you a George. Can I ask you a quick question? You know when you're in the shower, George. George. You know when you're in the shower, yeah? You ever have any homosexual thoughts about men, George?
Say what?
Ever have any homosexual thoughts about men in the shower?
What?
Simple question.
See, you want your daughter to be hearing you speak?
I'm asking you a question.
Like this?
A question that your reply should be none of your fucking business. Just like it's none of your fucking business what I do. When my kid's in the next room asleep, yeah, I'll swear. Yeah? Door's closed, she can't hear me now. Simple, George. I'll do what I like. Don't tell me how to parent my child. Don't ask me about nanny situations. Don't talk about my family, you absolute piece of shit. Okay, George?
No, you were probably stifling the social...
None of your fucking business. Did you not understand my answer when you asked about nannies, George? Did you not understand that answer?
Her father speaking and raising his voice.
Yeah, I'm raising it to you, dickhead. She's not in the room with me anymore, dickhead. Okay, dickhead? I'm calling you a senile old dickhead who doesn't understand anything, and I will continue to.
See? There you go. Is this good for your child to be
She's not in the room with me. What part of that don't you understand, you brain-dead senile old git?
How do you know? How I would...
Because I'm in my house. How do I know? I'm here. You dingbat. Right? I'll say it one more time just for George. What I do with my child is my business. and absolutely none of your fucking business. Do you hear me, George?
Well, actually, it is. Actually, it is. If
If
people sense that there might be child...
I don't give a shit what people sense. They can report me. Like I reported the Children of the Flat Earth website on Discord where they gather information about children. They can report me, George. Feel free to report whatever vague notion you have about something you heard. I don't care. Have you reported it, George? Let's just do the trick that these arseholes did to me, right? People in the chat when I was moaning about Children of the Flat Earth said, report it to the police. So that's absolutely what it did. So that's my question to you, George. Have you reported this to the police or the authorities?
No, I'm not reporting it to
Then shut the fuck up, you stupid old prick.
Oh, I'm just concerned.
Yeah, shut up about my family and what I do. If you had a genuine concern, you'd have reported it. If you had a genuine concern, you stupid old git, you would have reported it. You haven't. You just want to play this holier-than-thou shit because you're a disingenuous lying globehead projecting your dishonesty and lies onto me because you're an asshole.
Shut the hell up, types of conversations. That's all I'm saying.
Why don't this sounds like you're distracting. You can't find evidence. Discredit John's
exactly, Anthony. You got it.
That's what's going on, George. You're meant to be finding evidence. You're meant to be finding evidence against John's character for misrepresenting citations. And you don't appear to be doing it, and we're going to end up losing the point because we'll run out of time. So either shut up and get on with it, or retract your statement and we can move on.
Yep, just a diversion. Good job,
this
Anthony.
Is not a diversion. Anthony or Nathan was the one that brought this up, so I thought I would put
You're
in
on a job.
my own observation, my own opinion in here.
Nanny state opinions to
highly
yourself,
inappropriate. For him to
Keep
have
your
his
nanny
daughter
state
present.
Marxist policy bullshit to yourself, okay?
His nanny advice. What a crayon muncher, man.
Right. Verbal abuse is
people-
directed at a child. That
Don't-
doesn't mean that you can't just talk to others and use other types of words. Okay, it's total
No.
bullshit. It's Marxist
child
bullshit.
at the age of 2 and 3, they're in their formative years of development. And what do you think that she might be developing in terms of social behavior, listening to her father?
Man, smarter than you.
She's gonna know that her father gets into very serious discussions and even gets
this is
angry.
a
at
much
times.
flatter, George.
Yeah,
Very
that's what
stupid.
she's gonna see. She's gonna know that
a
part of her
child
father.
is
She's
not
an idiot. Okay.
capable, at that age is
Right,
not
hang on,
capable
gents.
of
It's
differentiating
how many
the
kids
nuance
guys? This is totally off topic. No one cares. George,
How many kids do you have, George?
find your evidence to discredit John's abilities to represent the citations that he uses. If you haven't got any, drop the point and let's move on. Let's get closure on the point.
This is not appropriate for his child to be sitting.
George, I don't want to hear about your opinion about my child anymore. I'm not interested in your opinion. If you have a genuine concern, report it to the authorities. Now let's move on.
Flatter debate. Come on, answer John and Anthony's point.
Last chance.
All right, you were asking about 3 frames of John and his.
No, we were asking whether it's open or closed, and we gave you both evidences to support it being open. You're now going to counter that point.
Yes, the system can be considered open if you want to look at every nuance that's associated, say, with hydrogen, the lighter molecules in the air being able to escape from the Earth, the fact that we can receive meteorites, we shoot satellites, rockets off into space, not ever to return. Yeah, it's an open system. Now, if you want to take this to the nth degree, everything is open. But
sorry,
the universe...
sorry, just to get clarity, George. So all of yesterday, right, we tried to get you to tie down whether or not it was open or closed. Now, we just want a firm answer, which was you have just stated that it is indeed an open system.
Yes, but we can also consider it a closed system in terms of if you just look at life on Earth. John,
no.
Why don't you mute yourself, John?
No, because you're contradicting yourself. It cannot be
No, I'm not
simultaneously.
contradicting
George,
myself. I said
George,
you can
George,
consider a system
George,
to both be open
George,
and closed. It
George,
depends on the platform.
George,
Georgie, okay, it's an open system.
Georgie boy,
Move on.
hello.
There are no contradictions in a heliocentric model.
George.
No, there are.
George. Open and closed are different things. You cannot simultaneously have an open-closed box. That's a contradiction in terms. It can only be open or closed. You have said it is open.
Open and closed is not the same in the
Okay, the definitions give it as open. You've just conceded that it's open. I'm going to say right here, right now, that it is an open system in the heliocentric religious bullshit world that you think you live in. Okay? It's open. You've conceded it. I heard it. If you deny it, I'll trim it out and edit it together where you say, yes, we can consider it open. So we will consider it as open. Okay, George, stuff's getting out. Stuff's leaving the system.
All right,
so
where
it's
do you want to
open.
go from here? Where do you want to go from here?
I'd like to go back.
Let's say,
I'd like to go back. I'd like to go. You asked a question, George. Where do we go from here? So, we've got an open system. Yeah? Now I want to know about the Coriolis effect and how that works, given that you explained it using a closed car. We get back to here, George. So we've got the open... We've got
the car thing.
Yeah, so yesterday you asserted that you're travelling along in the car and you don't feel any of the forces. Then I said this is analogous to Earth. It's an open-top car. Right, George?
No. Hey.
Give us your car example, George. Let's hear your car example about travelling along at 60 miles an hour in an open-top car and not feeling anything.
Or do I not get to respond uninterrupted? Yes.
Yes, you can respond uninterrupted to my question. How is it so that you assert that in an open-top car analogous to the open systems of Earth that we do not feel any forces when travelling at 60 miles an hour in an open-top car? That sounds like nonsense, George.
Do I get to respond with
you
interrupting me?
You do, yeah. Go ahead.
Okay. When I was talking to your panelists yesterday, he had made the claim when we were talking about relative motion. You stand on the earth, you look at the heavens, there isn't any way to differentiate or determine who is doing the moving. You standing on the earth with the heavens moving, or the heavens are stationary and you moving. And I was using the car as an example to tell. He objected. He said he could tell. He could feel motion. And I was trying to tell him, no, you cannot.
Oh, sorry. No, you can't. I've been in an open-top car. All over the country, in fact. And I absolutely assure you that if you are in an open-top car, you definitely know about it, George. Why would you assert such nonsense?
See?
My question. Why would you assert such utter nonsense?
I gave John 14 minutes without interruption.
I don't care anymore. I'm asking you a direct question. Why would you assert that when travelling in an open-top car, you wouldn't feel it?
I'm trying to explain. You won't let me get there.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, you won't let me get there.
Yeah, well, go ahead. Open-top car, you claim we don't feel the forces in an open-top car when travelling at 60 miles an hour because it's analogous to Earth, right? Open-top car, open-top Earth. So, I would assert that you would feel the forces at 60 miles an hour in an open-top car because it's an open system. That's my point, George.
Can you keep your mouth shut for 2 minutes?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. Now, what I was trying to tell him is that if he is in a car with the windows up, not an open top car, being, say, inside a bus, the windows closed, and he shuts his eyes, and if he's traveling down the highway at, say, 50 kilometers per hour, it's a...
Sorry, George, you've just changed it to a closed car. We took a whole show of you obfuscating to establish that we aren't in a closed car, George. We're in an open car. So I don't want to hear about your comparison to a closed system now, do I? We're not in a closed system, are we, George?
Shut up! Shut up!
Don't tell me to shut up or I'll kick you out. What I will do is rip you a new asshole in front of 253 people, George, while I point out your nonsense that in an open-top car, you can be damn sure you're going to feel the forces when you're travelling along in it. But you've now changed it to a closed car, analogous to a closed system.
I haven't changed it. I'm going at this at a step at a time, and you won't let me get to the open car.
No, we're already at the open car, George. You don't need to start at a closed car because we'd never have a closed car. We're not in a closed system. We're in an open system. So start with the closed. Start with the open car, George.
No. Stop being a dickhead.
Nah, love it. Ad hominem, the last refuge of the losing debater. Yeah, George, you're a dick because you don't understand that an open top car, you'd feel the forces, you complete senile old git. What part of open top and feel forces don't you understand, you old moron? I'll ad hominem you with my winning argument, George, you dick, you senile old prick. Winning. You senile old prick. Why is it that you don't understand that you feel forces in an open top car, you senile old man? Why is it that you're ad hominem me with no winning argument and I'm winning you over with not only ad hominems, but an absolute demolition of your religious belief in an open system that acts like a closed car?
See, again, you people won't let me have a chance to say my piece.
Okay, explain to us how we don't feel the force travelling at 60 miles an hour in an open top car. Take your time.
No, I'm just waiting to see if you're going to shut up.
Yeah, I'll shut up after I repeat the question. There's dead air, so you didn't take your opportunity. I'll just repeat the question. So, George, how do you have an open top car travelling at speed and not feel the forces? Is that your answer? A little laugh? I stopped, I paused, you laughed.
Yeah, I laugh because I know I'm going to be interrupted the minute I open up my mouth and start trying to explain this thing. The open top car is not analogous to an Earth with its atmosphere being carried along with it.
It isn't being carried along with it, George. That's why we have the Coriolis effect. The Earth turns underneath, you complete bonehead. We've just taken you through this. What part of that didn't you understand? That's why we have the Coriolis effect, George. To assert after you've been taken through it that you have a lockstep atmosphere is because you're either deaf or senile or you simply are ignorant and didn't pay attention. It turns underneath.
No, you're the one that's...
They are separate reference frames in your religious belief, you complete retard.
No.
Yeah, you laugh when I demolish your point, George. It's wonderful. I'm really enjoying it. You can laugh your ass off while I tell you again. You have two reference frames. The atmosphere and the Earth. The Earth turns underneath. That's why you have a deflection.
No, the Earth does not turn underneath.
Yes, it does. You clearly didn't listen, did you, George? That's why we have the Coriolis effect, according to your religious bullshit belief in a sphere Earth.
See, you're not getting this point.
Yeah, you're not answering my question. My question is quite direct. How do we have no force felt in a car that's open? Answer from George. Open top car, open system of Earth, is not analogous. We need to close up that car. We need to close up that car to make it like Earth when I need to give this example. Even though it's open, I'm going to make this example closed because the open top car doesn't work. That's our point. That's why you're being smashed.
No.
No. The hand wave dismissal. George getting his ass handed to him. Hey, Reds. Hey, Reds. This is waiting for you if you ever grow a pair of balls.
So when is it that you stop slapping your child around?
I've never slapped my child around, George. That's yet another ham-handed segue away from the fact that you have two separate reference planes. You don't have lockstep atmosphere attached with Velcro to the Earth, George. You don't have that. If you did, you wouldn't have Coriolis now, would you, George? That's a big problem for you. You need a closed car. You need it to be a closed system, don't you, George?
John is an imbecilic, low...
How is John relevant at this point, George?
Huh?
How is John relevant at this point?
Because ad hominem.
This is what Nathan buys into. He's bought into quantity tracers. Bullshit.
George, you're not listening. You're cornered and you don't even realize it. You should listen to what's happening.
No, you won't give me a chance to speak. See, there is a problem here. Nathan believes that the Earth turns underneath the atmosphere, which is categorically incorrect.
No, you don't understand the Coriolis effect, George. In order to have a Coriolis effect, we need the Earth to turn underneath the atmosphere, because if it didn't, we wouldn't have Coriolis, mate. We took you through this yesterday.
Again, a projectile moving in free flight through the atmosphere.
In a straight line through the atmosphere, that's correct. It travels through in a straight line through the atmosphere, the second reference frame, and the Earth continues to rotate independently underneath, giving you the Coriolis effect. Same as a roundabout, George. You fire your projectile off a spinning roundabout into the atmosphere, second reference frame, and it travels in a straight line, just like on Earth. But, because the roundabout continues to turn underneath independent of the atmosphere, you see an apparent deflection. The same claimed apparent deflection on Earth because the Earth continues to rotate independently. That is what gives you the Coriolis effect.
Along with it, like the Earth does.
No, it doesn't travel along with it. That's not what it does, because that's one reference frame. Then when the bullet leaves the gun in a straight line, and the atmosphere is the same reference frame as the Earth, you don't have anything turning to cause it to appear to deflect. You don't have a Coriolis effect if the reference frame is the same as the Earth. He holds the gun attached to the Earth, the atmosphere's spinning with it, in your bullshit religion, and then he fires the gun into the same reference. So therefore,
again,
no deflection seen, George.
In its relationship to the atmosphere is not the same as the Earth in its relationship to the atmosphere, because the atmosphere is carried along with the Earth as the Earth spins.
Okay, so on the roundabout has the atmosphere carried along with the roundabout. Correct, George? The roundabout has the same exact effect. It's Coriolis. It doesn't matter what it's on. But the roundabout has an atmosphere carried along with it, like the Earth, does it?
No, it does not.
No, that's right, George, it doesn't. No, it does not. Because that's how you achieve Coriolis, having a separate reference frame rotating underneath, like the roundabout.
The atmosphere is immaterial to the discussion when you're talking about the roundabout.
No, it's not, because when you fire your bullet, it goes into the atmosphere in a straight line, and the atmosphere is your second reference.
For the second reference for the Earth atmosphere system. It is not the second reference for the roundabout. The atmosphere becomes now a third reference frame when you're talking about the roundabout. And
I see. So we've got one reference frame, the roundabout turning, one reference frame, the atmosphere on the roundabout, turning with the roundabout to give us just the one reference frame, right, George?
You have now introduced the third reference frame.
Sorry, we've got one reference frame, like with Earth. So we're going to say that the Earth has got the atmosphere in lockstep and we achieve Coriolis. So let's scale it down to a roundabout. Well, in order for it to be the same, that roundabout's got to have the atmosphere travelling with it, George, for it to be the same as the Earth.
No, it does not. No, it does not.
Oh, right. So when we've got a bullet fired from a roundabout, we've only got two reference planes, and the bullet isn't a reference frame then. No, George. If you're saying there's three, the bullet, the roundabout, and the atmosphere, then it's the same with the Earth. The Earth, the bullet, the atmosphere. They are the same.
But what the point you're missing is when you've introduced the roundabout, you have introduced a third reference frame. You have two reference frames to start with. You have the thrown ball, you have the Earth and the atmosphere. Two reference frames. The Earth atmosphere is a rotating reference frame. The thrown ball is an inertial reference frame. Now you introduce a roundabout, that's a third reference frame, which is rotating. So what happens here, you throw the ball, a person standing on the Earth sees the ball being deflected because of Coriolis effect.
No, they're not standing on the Earth. They're standing on the roundabout, George. That's why they see the deflection, not because they're standing on the Earth. They're throwing the ball from the roundabout. And because they continue to spin on the roundabout, they see the ball deflect when it travels into, apparently, the Earth atmosphere system. So when you then translate that into a gun being fired, you've only got one reference frame. There's no longer a roundabout to cause the deflection, George, because you have a single reference frame.
No, you're very confused on this.
Not at all. According to you, there are three reference frames. The Earth atmosphere system, that's 1. The bullet, that's 2. And the roundabout, that's 3. So therefore, the roundabout and the Earth atmosphere system become your 2 references. If you translate that into Earth, i.e. it's exactly the same but you remove the roundabout, then you remove the thing that necessitates Coriolis.
Wrong. You're all very confused on
Really, so we achieve Coriolis on an Earth with an attached atmosphere, which are the same reference apparently according to your religion. Not true, they aren't. But there we go, that's what you're asserting here. We have the same reference frame, Earth and atmosphere. So therefore, if we've got the same reference frame, Earth and atmosphere, and you fire a bullet from a roundabout, you observe an apparent deflection. Because you're on a roundabout that spins independently of the Earth atmosphere system. So then when we get rid of the roundabout, we've still got a gun, we've still got Earth and atmosphere, but then we've only got one reference frame, George. So there's no roundabout to cause the Coriolis. The Earth is turning with the atmosphere, exactly like when we had the roundabout. But now we removed the roundabout, and because we removed the roundabout, we removed the single thing in that situation that causes the Coriolis deflection.
No.
No. Ham wave dismissal. Yeah, when we've got a roundabout, we get Coriolis, but if we remove the roundabout, we still get Coriolis. Because it's a single reference frame. That doesn't make any sense, George. You're a bonehead.
Reference frame into the mix.
You're a bonehead.
No.
If we've got 3 reference frames, the bullet, the roundabout, and the Earth atmosphere system, if you remove one of those components, which is necessitated to get the deflection that is apparent, then if you remove the roundabout from that system, so now you've just got a gun and a single reference frame, Earth atmosphere, you don't have Coriolis anymore. There's nothing to cause the deflection, you bonehead.
No, the instant that bullet leaves the gun, you have introduced a second reference frame.
No, it's the same exact circumstances on the roundabout. Yeah, you fire the gun on the roundabout, and you see an apparent deflection because the roundabout continues turning underneath. So we have the roundabout turning underneath the sniper, and we have the Earth atmosphere system. There's your 2 reference frames according to you. Roundabout, Earth atmosphere system, and the bullet is a 3rd one. So now let's remove one of them. Now let's remove the roundabout. So we still have a sniper, and we still have a single reference frame according to George. So where do you get the Coriolis from?
No, you had 3 reference frames. You eliminated one, so now you're back down to 2 reference frames.
Excellent. So we've just got the gun firing its bullet the same as it did on the roundabout into 1 reference frame in a straight line.
No, you removed the roundabout, so now we're back.
The reference frame of the bullet doesn't help you, George. That's definitely travelling in a straight line in actuality, isn't it?
According to its reference frame, yeah.
Yes, so it's travelling in a straight line, but it deflects if you have another reference frame rotating independently of its straight path.
To the person on the rotating reference frame, that bullet appears to deflect.
Sorry, which frame is rotating? Because apparently, George, they're attached to each other according to you. So which one's rotating? If they're both attached, they're the same.
No.
No, hand wave dismissal again. Yes, George, you've made it very clear. They're attached. Yeah? Therefore, when you fire that bullet in a straight line through your single reference frame, the bullet's reference frame is a straight line, George, I assure you. So we've only got 1 reference frame. Straight line of the bullet and the Earth atmosphere system. That's...
No, the Earth is still turning underneath the bullet.
Oh, it's turning underneath the bullet, is it? Oh, that's amazing. Well, it's travelling through the atmosphere in a straight line, George. So therefore the atmosphere must be separate to the Earth.
No.
So how does it travel in a straight line through the atmosphere? If it's travelling in a straight line through the atmosphere, and we get Coriolis because the Earth rotates underneath it, then it ipso facto is separate, George.
No.
Yeah. If it's travelling in a straight line, and according to you, deflected because the Earth turns underneath, then it's travelling through an atmosphere in a straight line and deflecting because the Earth rotates underneath.
The Earth rotates underneath with the atmosphere attached.
Well, then it's not rotating underneath. They're 1 reference frame, George. You're a dingbat. If it's attached, it's not rotating underneath.
I've never said that the Earth is rotating underneath.
Then you've only got one reference frame. Then you don't see any deflection, George. You fire it from your gun, it goes into the atmosphere, which is attached to the Earth, and it travels in a straight line. Where's the deflection coming from, George?
To the observer standing on the Earth or in the atmosphere sees an apparent deflection. Which
it makes no difference standing on the Earth or in the atmosphere. According to you, they're the same bloody reference frame, George. So where's the rotating happening?
That's what I said. The Earth and the atmosphere are the same reference frame.
So where do you get the second reference frame, George? Because the bullet's travelling in a straight line, isn't it? So we've got one reference frame and a bullet travelling in a straight line. Earth and atmosphere attached, bullet in straight line. So where's the deflection?
The deflection is with a person standing on the Earth. If that bullet is going in a straight path, the Earth and the atmosphere are turning underneath that bullet, or with respect to that bullet.
Sorry, if the Earth and atmosphere are turning, then the bullet isn't travelling in a straight line because it's just not going straight. For some reason, we've got a banana bullet now.
No.
So is it going straight? Does the bullet, in actuality, come out of the gun and travel straight?
A little bit of air drag.
Sorry, does it travel straight?
A little bit of air drag. That's what is meant by free flight. The instant that bullet leaves the muzzle of the gun, it is now has a reference frame, a new reference frame attached to it due to free flight. Its trajectory through the atmosphere.
So its trajectory through the atmosphere is straight. Correct, George? It's got a new reference frame in the atmosphere and straight.
Like a helicopter.
The bullet can go through the atmosphere in a straight line.
Excellent. So it travels through the atmosphere and maintains a straight path through the atmosphere. So is it also being turned underneath the Earth with the atmosphere turning? Because that's not two reference frames, George.
It is two reference frames.
No, it's not. If it's travelling straight through the atmosphere, then it's travelling straight through the atmosphere. For there to be a deflection, the Earth must rotate underneath. Well, it's travelling straight through the atmosphere. So the atmosphere maintains its position, reference frame 1, and the Earth turns underneath, reference frame 2. So definitely not attached. Straight through the atmosphere. Earth turns underneath. Two reference frames.
Georgie, not according to your alma mater wiki. You're wrong.
The Earth and the atmosphere are a single reference frame.
You want to bring it up, John? Just bring up the actual wiki reference, just so we can show what wiki says. You know, not that we rely on wiki, but these crayon munchers do. So let's have a look, John, if you can bring it up, please.
I didn't hear. I just heard you say John.
Can you bring up the definition from? Can you bring up the wiki definition on screen, and we'll just show exactly what we're saying.
You want me to pull that up again?
Yes, please. Just for George.
Hold on.
It's taken 2 shows to get him to this stage. It's very difficult to get things through to him.
Like a hamster wheel, say, right? You're standing in the middle of the hamster wheel and then the top.
Why is it so difficult for you to understand that the instant the bullet leaves the muzzle of the gun, it is now in a new reference frame?
Yes, travelling straight through the atmosphere. So it is travelling straight, and the atmosphere maintains it travelling straight. It doesn't rotate with the Earth attached to it, because if it did, you wouldn't have the rotating Earth underneath it, George.
Oh, God.
Hey,
oh, God. Oh, no. Being annihilated again. How many people are watching? 212 people watching. You have your ass handed to you, George. You out there, Ed? This is what's waiting for you if you ever grow some balls.
Hey, Nathan.
Yeah, got it up.
Graham Muncher called the Earth an inertial system.
I mean, did not call the
That's
Earth
how you're arguing.
Yeah, George.
Okay. Are you seeing this?
John,
yeah.
John,
are you seeing this?
Come on, John. Get the wax out. The Earth is not in.
Here you go. Here it is over here. You see this?
Yeah.
You want me to read the bottom part again?
Yes, please.
In the inertial frame of reference, the upper part of the picture, the black ball moves in a straight line. However, the observer, the brown dot, who is standing in the rotating non-inertial frame of reference, that means he's on the Earth, sees the object as following a curved path due to the Coriolis and centrifugal forces present in the frame. See,
that's exactly what I said.
No, it isn't. You say that they're attached together. So if that was the case, there'd be no Coriolis, George, because you've only got one reference frame.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
No, it isn't. It's the antithesis of what you're saying. You're saying it can be achieved because you claim that the bullet has its own reference frame. And yet when we put the exact same example onto a roundabout, it very much is the roundabout that causes the Coriolis effect. And should be the Earth rotating underneath that causes it, and is by definition what causes it. You're just a retard.
Nathan, when you introduce your roundabout, you have been introduced a third reference frame, a third rotating reference frames. You have then two rotating reference frames. You have the atmosphere as a rotating reference frame. You have the roundabout
and the stationary Earth. It's very simple.
And then you have the ball moving in a straight line as an inertial reference frame.
No problem, John. Can you just bring it back up one more time? Let's just have a look where it says on the definition that there are in fact 3 reference planes. If you George,
point of clarification, please.
Yeah, can we just get clarity, George? So John, can you bring up the definition again, and we'll see how many times it says there's 3 rather than 2.
Oh man, I just exited out of it. Hold on.
May I ask a point of clarification?
Yeah, go on.
George, you said that when the bullet leaves the gun, it is independent of the atmosphere. Is that what you said?
At the instant that bullet leaves the muzzle of the gun, it is traveling through the atmosphere in its own reference frame, which is independent of the reference frame of the atmosphere.
So am I to understand that to mean the atmosphere does not influence the trajectory, speed, and direction of the
For the most part, it does not. Save a little bit of air drag.
I'm sorry.
Save drag. There can be a bit of air drag.
I'm sorry, does for the most part mean yes or no?
No, it's not a yes or no answer. It just depends upon...
Yeah, it is. It either affects it or it doesn't, and you're just obfuscating his question, George. Typical baller tactic.
Yeah, I'm sharing, Nathan. Can he point to the third reference frame here? I missed it.
Tell us, George. Where does it say third reference frame? There's your roundabout on the right-hand side, George. It's a roundabout with a ball being thrown into the air. That's the example on the right-hand side.
Yeah, the inertial. Okay. The third reference frame is the Earth that the roundabout is attached to. The Earth is carrying the roundabout with it as it stands. That's the third reference frame.
Sorry, that's not on the citation anywhere. It doesn't explain that there's a third reference frame because it's on Earth. It just gives a roundabout.
Where do you get where it isn't a reference frame?
So you have 2 That's what we're asking you, you dingbat. You tell me on this page where it says that the Earth classed as a third reference frame, and according to you, the 2 reference frame in the example on the right is actually the ball and the roundabout. The atmosphere doesn't come into it according to you, even though it very clearly states that it does. It leaves the reference frame into the atmosphere in order for the Coriolis effect to be there. And you only have 2 reference frames in that example. It's really clear.
Stop talking.
No, I'm not going to stop talking because you people are so damn rude.
You're not going to be heard. You're just talking all over, Nathan. And nobody in this panel's going to hear what you're saying. And nobody...
So this is called rumpusing the hangout. This is what ballers do when they lose. Yeah? We hand them a big can of whoop-ass, and then they lose. And this is what they do. Talk non-stop.
See, the thing is,
Nathan, George, let me say something.
Non-stop, but I don't get a chance to speak without you interrupting me. This is the way that you run your hangouts.
Yeah, that's what I would moan to if I was on the ropes having my ass handed to me. You run your hangout badly, you new people. You're a really terrible host. Yeah, these are just like Red Rhetoric's excuses. The only difference with you and Red Rhetoric is you've actually got the courage to join and present your arguments, George. Albeit with a load of bleating about how done by you are and how terrible it is that we smash your points into the middle of next week. You can moan and bitch and bleat about it all you like and say it's because my show's run badly. It's not. It's because you've been demolished.
You're shot. No, you've run this this whole hangout. So
yeah, that's what you're doing again. So rather than addressing the fact that this on page now doesn't show third reference frames, it doesn't describe the ball as a second reference frame. It contradicts everything you've said, but apparently now it's really important to discuss how my hangouts run.
Nathan.
Yes.
Did I interrupt John? Yes or no? Did I interrupt John while he went through his boring?
He doesn't get that in your. He doesn't get that in your roundabout example. The roundabout is the earth. That's what he doesn't get. He's confused. He doesn't understand that.
No, I'm not confused. The roundabout is separate from the earth.
No, the roundabout's analogous to Earth, you complete dingbat. Yeah? It's comparable. The bit that spins is supposed to be the spinning Earth. The bit the ball travels through is supposed to be the atmosphere. You can call it whatever you like. This is Coriolis effect. It's real.
Yes, I'm not denying that that's not real.
Right, but what you say is, no, that's not actually 2 reference frames with the ball being thrown from one reference frame to the other. That's actually 3 reference frames. That's what you're saying. The ball's one of them. No, that's not what it says. You're a dingbat, and now you're trying to rumpus the hangout again, because that's what you do, George. So while I'm making this devastating point, George is just talking all over me. That's what ballers do.
No, you're stupid.
And then his last refuge of the losing idiot in a debate is to call the other person an idiot. Yeah, I can do that too, George. You're an idiot because you don't understand Coriolis. It's been explained to you about 10 times, you moron. How many times have we got to slap this into you? Yeah, George?
Or open and close systems. He has no clue. The thermos that sits there for a while suddenly becomes an open system. By magic.
Idiot.
Get over yourself, John.
Yeah, you get over yourself, George. You're an idiot. You don't understand Coriolis. You don't understand open and closed systems. You change your religious belief to suit the circumstances. You're just a religious zealot. Just a religious zealot, George. Oh, it depends on the circumstances. It depends on the problem. What? The physicality of my Earth depends on your problem? Nah, George.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Open and closed system. One thing only,
No, see,
that
the
is the
problem here is
PSI.
with
You can't say it's open and closed concerning PSI.
He can make it be whatever he wants, like an hermaphrodite.
You can
depends on how
from
drunk
all
he is.
kinds of angles, but when when PSI is concerned, it is either open or closed.
Huh?
Huh?
No,
PSI.
you have a pressure everywhere in the universe.
No,
it's
no, 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 no.
extremely,
PSI, not
extremely
pressure.
small and
PSI.
insignificant throughout. You know what
PSI, entropy.
pounds per square inch. Okay,
Exactly.
It's a pressure. It's a measure of pressure. Force
No,
per
no,
unit
no, no. It's very
volume.
specific.
It's everywhere.
Defined.
It's
very
everywhere in the
specific.
universe.
It's not just a pressure. It's pressure specifically defined per square inch. That's the
What do you
difference.
mean
It's very
specifically
specific. So is it open or closed concerning PSI? It's a yes or no answer.
Question.
There's no other way.
That's a nonsensical. No, Arwen, that's a nonsensical question.
No,
Don't
You see, again, we get to a point where we just want to know if Earth's open or closed. He's already said it's open on this very show. But now it's a nonsensical question because he can't answer it because his religious belief doesn't suit reality.
Arwen.
To have PSI container is required.
Pressure in deep space.
George, Arwen's got
Pressure
you.
in deep space.
Yeah,
George,
What's
got
the
you.
Arwen
pressure
has
in
you.
deep? No, I'm asking Arwen. What's the pressure?
No,
in
he's
deep
asking
asked
you.
you
He
a question.
smashed you, George.
Is it
Just
open
again,
or
you've just
closed?
had your ass
Said
handed to you
PSI.
again.
He's got you.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean anything. Open or
So you're
closed?
saying it's an invalid question?
I love it. It doesn't mean anything. When I've been demolished and my back's against the wall, then your question's meaningless. I'll spend 2 shows trying to answer it and obfuscate it, but it's a meaningless question. Why have you spent 2 days on it then, George? With us absolutely slapping it into you daily. What's going on? Why can't you comprehend this easy stuff that you've had on screen with citations over and over again? Lengthy explanations from me while you tell me that the Earth and the atmosphere are attached contrary to the definition. You're an idiot.
It's not
George,
contrary.
Arwen, bitch slapping you all
PSI,
over.
what it defines is pressure per square inch, mainly a surface. It's
Surface?
yeah,
Oh,
surface in
you
all
don't have to have
directions.
surface?
Yeah.
Yes, to
Pressure
have
per square
PSI,
inch.
a container is
It's pressing
required.
against something else, and that's going to pressure against something else,
Oh.
and this will be guided by the effect of entropy. Rapid, powerful.
Sorry, George has just said no to you need something for it to press against. So, George, age-old question. Can you show us air pressure without a container? Can you show us that, or are we just going to get a laugh?
I'm just going to laugh at you guys.
Fair enough. I'll just point out that George cannot answer my question. He cannot demonstrate gas pressure without a container, which is what his religious belief about Earth is.
Oh, you guys have no idea what the technical terms mean. Arwen is clueless when it comes to terms of physics. Pounds per square inch.
Bullshit.
Yeah, basically, George has lost. Now he's just ad homing Arwen, saying, I know more about definitions than you do, even though I'll never ever cite one. And when I get you to cite it for me, I'll tell it that it's discredited because you've gone and got it. That's what I'll do, while I simultaneously say we can have a gas pressure without a container. Right? And you'll nag on about it forever.
Give me a break. Here.
No, I'm not going to give you a break. We're going to smash this into you non-stop. We'll keep slapping it into you, George, till you get it. Right? Your religion is flawed. You need both closed and open systems simultaneously for your religious belief in a spinning ball Earth to work. We don't have that in actuality, and we can't have that ever. You can't have gas pressure without a container.
Oh, God, you're stupid.
So that's your response. Okay, yeah, that's fine. You can ad hom me, George. You senile old git. You cannot have gas pressure without a container. You senile old git. See how my ad homs come with a... My ad homs ad homs come with a winning argument attached to them, you senile old git. You can't have gas pressure without a container, you thicko. Tell me where your physics definitions get you when I ask you that question. How do you have gas pressure without a container, George?
So are you telling me you cannot have a pressure differential without...
No. Deaf are you, senile old git. Not pressure gradient. Those words didn't cross my lips. You seem to be going senile, hearing things in your head. Do you hear funny voices? Yeah, George? Hear things that aren't actually being said? I didn't say pressure gradient. I said gas pressure, Dumbo.
Exactly.
Yeah, you want to ad hom me, dickhead? You'll get me with a winning argument ripping you a new one. You out there, Red? Hey, Red. Hey. Links in the info box if you'd like to join now. I'll give you the same treatment that George has had. An absolute ass whooping based on his total ignorance of gas pressure. You can't have gas pressure without a container, George. And Earth, according to your religion, is an open system. That's a bit of a problem when I'm breathing gas pressure now, isn't it, George?
I want to answer Nathan here, Jose. Hold on a second. You just stated that you cannot have gas pressure without a container, right?
That's correct. Now, unless you're going to show me that, I'm not interested in the next words that come out of your mouth. Bring it up on screen. Show me gas pressure without a container.
A 2 psi difference between the eye and the outside of a hurricane. Where's the container?
Yeah, difference, but we're not talking exactly gas pressure in the first place.
That's another.
Where's the container?
The pressure in the first place. We're not talking differential. We're talking just pressure.
That's what you mean by gas pressure.
No, I'm not talking about a pressure differential. I'm just talking about gas that presses. It's very simple. You want to talk about a pressure gradient. Don't know why. It makes no difference to the argument. You've still got a top layer, and it's got nothing to press on. Oh, it has got something to press on. A vacuum, a lower pressure system. Entropy no longer exists. Right, George? No, George. It's just that you need it to be a closed system in certain circumstances. That's why you think this is... What did you say? Oh, this is a pointless question. It's a nonsensical question. No, George. It's a question that destroys...
Where's the container in a hurricane? The inside of a hurricane is 2 psi lower than the outside of the hurricane.
That's absolutely fascinating. I know hurricanes are real, but I've never been to space. It's just asserted we have a vacuum, a lower pressure system next to gas pressure, George. So as much as you might want to talk about the weather, I don't. I'm here talking about whether or not the Earth is flat. And in your religion of a spinning ball Earth, you have gas pressure without a container. So don't give me an example of where you think it's analogous. Just tell me or show me how you have gas pressure without a container. Not a gas pressure differential, just gas pressure.
Now, where is the container, Nathan? In a hurricane, the inside of a hurricane has a 2 psi lower pressure than the outside of the hurricane.
The container is still the Earth.
Where is the container?
It's the Earth.
Sorry, to have a pressure differential, George, you must first have gas pressure.
You have gas pressure on the outside of the hurricane. You have gas pressure
But
on
the
the
hurricane
Okay,
isn't.
you're right, George. Gas pressure on the outside, gas pressure on the inside. So we definitely have gas pressure.
The original argument is if he believes there's a vacuum, there's a no pressure system out there, what is the division? That's the original question.
Where did he get gas pressure? Let Nathan go. Go ahead, Nathan.
Precisely. So we've got a pressure difference between the hurricane and the eye of the hurricane, according to George. So we've got a gas pressure difference. So first, where did you get that gas pressure from? Take your time, George. Everyone shut up. Everyone shut up.
Gas pressure from?
Yeah, that's just you repeating my question. So I'll repeat it again. We'll have it 3 times. Where did you get the gas pressure from?
There is a smaller amount of air molecules per unit volume on the inside of the hurricane than there is on the outside of the hurricane.
Okay, that's lovely. That's fascinating. So we definitely have gas pressure, and I want to know where we got the gas pressure from in the first place. I don't want to know about the gas pressure differential. That's the next thing that comes after when we figure out where we got the gas pressure from. Where did we get the gas pressure from?
You keep bringing up a car tire.
Where do we get the gas pressure from?
The amount of molecules inside a car tire, there are more molecules.
Excellent. So it's analogous to a car tire. So is Earth analogous to a car tire, George? Or is Earth an open system, unlike a car tire? Which one is it, George? Is it like a tire, or is it like an open dish?
You don't need a container to have a pressure difference.
Excellent. Show me a tire, like you just gave us an example, without the tire.
Somebody kicked.
Getting trolled. Time to end this troll fest. I think George isn't going to concede. Yep, George has been demolished. I think we can all agree. So on that note, I will say first and foremost, a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of the live audience for tuning in and hopefully sharing this debate. Be sure to share George's demolition wide and far. And of course, a massive thank you to all of the debating panel, including the incredibly slow George. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!